So, hello, I'm Dan, a co-founder here at WireWAX, and with me I have Jen. Say hello, Jen.
Hi, everyone.
And Jen is our creative director here and is extremely good across the platform. She knows how to make the best experiences. We wanted to share that with you and do a quick tutorial of how some of these experiences can look. And one which we've made recently with a client of ours at National Geographic was this. And Jen did an amazing job of making this on the platform with just assets that she found on the internet. And this video was never intended to be made interactive, so it shows you how quick and easy it all is. It starts here with a poster frame. It is an animated poster frame with movement in it, which immediately pulls you in. And as you jump into the experience, you will start to see the interaction options, which include, and I'll just mute for a second because it's mostly the visuals. On the top, on the bottom left, sorry, you've got a hotspot that is always on. So this is available at any point in the playback, which is view the 2021 lineup. This is a National Geographic collaboration with Ford about the Broncos. And then on the right here, you actually see one of the hotspots that you can interact with to find out more information. So two different types of hotspot. One is a moving hotspot, which is tracking the movement of this climber and Jimmy Chin specifically. And then on the bottom left, this lower third one goes straight into an overlay. That overlay, by the way, can appear at any point without pausing. So you can interact and it just continues playing the video. If you want to, you can interact with these hotspots that appear, for instance, on Jimmy himself. As I do so, it comes up with a selection of information about Jimmy Chin, the photographer, known for Free Solo and others, a great film. And further down, we also have other hotspots which lead to galleries. So here I can interact and actually explore some of the photos that Jimmy, an award-winning photographer, makes. So it's a really beautiful experience that looks and feels like it was always meant to be, and just shows you how powerful it is to make these sorts of creative things happen. At the end, there is also a end card, which Jen will show you during this run through. So I'll let Jen take over from this point. And Jen, if you could just give us a bit of a quick fire tutorial here. How do you make this sort of experience happen?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. Let me just share my screen with you. So hopefully you can see that I have Illustrator open now. And I typically like to build out my projects in Illustrator first. It's important to mention, though, that this is entirely unnecessary. You can do everything that you need to build an interactive video within our studio without doing it in Illustrator. I just like to get an overview of all the elements I'm going to use, and sometimes clients require very specific things like very specific drop shadows or tracking on letters that I'll basically just export as an image and import that into our overlay editor. But as you can see, I have everything that Dan showed you, from the poster frame to the different hotspots laid out here, to the different overlay types as well. There's about 4 different overlay types in this video, as well as the end frame. Another good use of Illustrator for this project is if you do want to use something like the image gallery that Dan showed you, I'll also just lay out those images on separate artboards here just to make sure they all are the same size.
This is kind of your storyboard, really, of the whole experience then.
Exactly, yeah. I just like to map out the elements, make sure that the hotspots look good in certain places. Like you showed the hotspot consistently being in the bottom left corner. I just want to make sure that looks good across different stills throughout the video.
That makes sense. Although, you know, for those people who don't have Illustrator, I guess you can use other graphic software, Photoshop, but also we do have some of these tools available in the WIREWAX Studio.
Yeah, exactly. So from here, I will export some elements that I need. For instance, if I wanted to have a custom hotspot, which I'm about to show you how to create, I'll just take certain elements like this and then export that selection and upload it into our studio. Let me show you how I do that. So I've uploaded the video here. This is just a blank video file now. And from here, you'll be able to add a hotspot. Again, like Dan showed you, you can either choose between a sticky hotspot or a static hotspot. The static hotspots obviously being in frame whenever you want them to be. You can select the certain time codes, and the sticky ones are attached to certain people or objects within the video.
And you can actually see there, it's mentioned that 9 times higher interaction rate when you do have sticky hotspots. So it's one of those things, it doesn't necessarily fit with every opportunity, but it does really help if you can spot an opportunity to tie an interaction to a specific person or object, because the viewer is really motivated about a specific thing you're allowing them to interact with.
Yeah, that's a very good point. I'll show you how to make a static hotspot first. So I'm just going to select static here, and you'll get this bounding box, which just allows you to kind of place it at any size or location that you want on the video. So let's create the Bronco lineup hotspot here, give it a name. It will load for a second, and then once that's finished, it will give you this screen. And from here, you can do a variety of things. Like I said before, you're able to enter in different time codes. So I'm able to set this to appear for the entire video from the very first still to the very last one. And I'm also able to give it an action, which we'll go into further when we look at the overlays. But basically, you'll be able to say when a person clicks on the hotspot, I want them to be taken to an overlay, be taken to a link outside of the video, or to branch to a different part of the video. That's more for our kind of choose your own adventure videos. But for now, let's jump into the custom hotspot design. And from here, you'll see that we have a bunch of standard hotspots that you're able to select from. Like Dan said, if you don't feel comfortable in Illustrator or you just want to make a video quick and easy, you can select something like this plus hotspot or different labeled hotspots. But what I did for this particular video is I actually selected custom here, which takes you to this configuration screen, and you'll be able to upload really any kind of image asset that you want from here. So if I click on upload, I can go into my assets folder. I've already pre-prepared this obviously, but I'm going to be uploading this hotspot that Dan showed you. And again, this can be a PNG, it can be a JPEG, it can be an animated GIF, an SVG, really any kind of file type that you want to work with. You can select. And then from here, you can configure things like obviously the size, the opacity, whether it has a border, how quick the transitions are, and everything will be shown as a preview here. You can actually also tab over here to the hover style and do the exact same thing. You can upload a completely different image if you'd like for people to see when you hover over it. You can adjust the size to be the same as it was for the normal state, or it could go larger if you'd like as well. You can see here in the preview, things like opacity are also changeable too. So just to give you a taste of that. And then once you're happy with everything, you can also save this as a template. This is really helpful for instances where you have multiple items that have the same hotspot. So mainly for shoppable videos that use things like a shopping cart hotspot, for instance. Instead of having to do this process every single time you create a hotspot, you just save it as a template, and then it will be saved within your templates down here.
Nice.
Click save, and then that's really as easy as it is to make a custom hotspot within our studio.
Very good. And this is a static. So how does it look if you doing something which is moving and the overlay attached to that?
Good question. So I'm not sure how much he moves in this particular frame, but let's say that we want to make Jimmy here a sticky hotspot. We would just select sticky and then take our bounding box once more and try and as tightly as possible place it over the object or the person that we want to be focusing on. So for instance,
making it tight
Jimmy
kind
here.
of makes it as accurate as possible with the movement, and so it like really looks slick when it follows him, right?
Exactly. Yeah, you can see the computer tracking him right now and kind of drawing an outline over him. So making it tight, just make sure that the computer tracks them as accurately as possible. And very much the same process as before, actually. You can, again, pick a hotspot action, change the hotspot design if you'd like, and you'll
you
see
can
now
also,
if I play the video.
is it doing also on that pause video on the right hand side? So your original one, the first one you put in, had sort of a non-pausing effect. So it would only just display the overlay but wouldn't pause the video in the background. And this new Jimmy Chin one would pause, and you would effectively stop the video as soon as the viewers come in to see more.
Exactly. The default action on our studio is that it will pause the video when you open an overlay, but if you did want it to not pause, it's as simple as just toggling this back and forth and having it not pause.
It's also worth saying that pausing and not pausing are creative opportunities for you, and depending on the content you're displaying. I think the important thing about what Jen's done here is the lower third is something that is literally a lower third of the screen, so it's not blocking you from watching the video, and it's kind of information that's relevant at any point for you, to your viewer to want to watch and interact at the same time. Whereas the Jimmy Chin information is very much specific to Jimmy Chin, and so you want to be able to interact and explore that content and do that in a way which is not moving the content at the same time, so you can understand it, you can explore it, and then rejoin. So it's kind of like a decision about how your viewer is going to interact with that type of content.
Yeah, exactly. I guess we can move into the overlays unless you have any other questions about hotspots.
No, I think that'll be good.
Okay, great. So let's use the lower third hotspot, overlay as an example once again. So like I said, we jump into edit overlay here, and then you'll be taken into our overlay editor. And from here, you'll have a variety of widgets that you can pick from to create different elements on the page. So this overlay is really just made up of different shapes, text, and images. And it's as simple as kind of clicking something on the side here. And then from there, you're always able to customize things like the color, the position. You're also able to give actions to any image or shape on the page. So for instance, this square could lead to a click-through URL, which would just mean taking the viewer to another page. It could, again, seek to a time in the video, or it could close the overlay. This is helpful for things like this image here, the close image. That's actually a PNG, and I've just told it to close the overlay for me whenever someone clicks on it. Oh. Very similarly to the hotspots, actually, you're also able to, once you're happy with your overlay, save it as a template, and then that will always be stored in your overlay library. So,
and the layering on the bottom right there, what's that all about?
Good question. So we are able to actually animate this overlay in however we would like to. So if you select nothing on the page, you'll be taken to the sidebar here. And you're given options like fade and cascade or fade in. I typically use fade and cascade because it allows you to give a direction to the animation. So here I've chosen from the bottom. You can really choose from any direction. And then if you hit play, it'll show you how that overlay will animate in once someone's clicked on the hotspot. Exactly. And the way that I basically just need to line up these layers in the order that I would like them to animate in. And that's as easy as kind of dragging and dropping these elements. You can also lock elements and delete them, obviously, from here.
Very nice. And if we were starting from scratch and using either set templates or blank templates, how does that look?
So if you were starting from scratch, you would be taken to this page, obviously without this overlay on top. This is just the video underneath that you can see. And you'll see this screen. It will take you to our standard template. So you're allowed to select from any of these pre-made templates. For instance, I can select this one and just hit change, and it will automatically overlay that particular template onto my video for me. And then from there, it's as easy as kind of just changing the text to whatever you would like it to be.
And then these buttons at the top, what are they on the top right? As you clicked on one of those items there, it had some other options come up. Yeah, those ones at the top.
Yeah, so there is the ability to use the rulers on the sides here. There's the ability to see a grid and also to snap to the grid. And then obviously these are alignment buttons, which are really helpful. Rather than having to kind of like eyeball every single element, you can just kind of select them all and then hit align left, for instance.
Good. So even
Another,
if you didn't do the designing on Illustrator as you showed us, you could still kind of build the design in this environment.
yeah, definitely. This is what I meant by being able to design everything entirely within the overlay editor if you want to. You really have endless control when it comes to things like fonts. You can adjust the line height, you can adjust the size, the color, the alignment, everything like that. So it's just my personal preference to design in Illustrator, but it's really not necessary.
Good. And so how does it work on is it the end frame, the last piece of the jigsaw?
Yeah, that's the last thing that we haven't seen yet. And that is if you go into the tab here called time triggers, it basically allows you to select different actions, much like we saw before. So let's say we create a new one. It will allow you again to pick between a jump point, a pause point, or to open an overlay. And what that means and what we've done for the end frame is basically selected open overlay. And you'll be able to then select any time code within the video and make sure that at that certain time code an overlay will open. So we just go to the very end of the video and then exactly like we've done before, we're able to create our overlay. I can show you that right here. And once again, it's the same process of kind of building things out using the widgets on the side. Typically for our end frames, we really like to give the viewer the ability to replay the video. And to do that, you just put in an image here and select the image action to be seek in video. You'll get this here, and obviously you just want to seek them to the very beginning of the video once more. And also a CTA, whatever the goal of the video is, which for this one was to take people out to reserve a model of the Bronco. This is again just an image with the action of a click-through URL.
Very cool. And this is a great experience, and I think one that we've all really liked, and that's why we wanted to show you. If you've got others you want us to show you, we can do. Any videos that you find on the website, or any videos that you just want to see how we could make, feel free to ask us, and just do that through hello@wirewax.com up here, or just go through the contact forms. We're very open to helping you guys get the most out of the toolset. So thank you for joining us. Thanks, Jen.
Thanks. Bye, everyone.